Welcome back. All right, so we're going to take a look at the Minnesota Wild today. I think this is one of, if not the last team I haven't looked at yet. And for the Minnesota Wild, of course, we always end up talking about the cap penalty, which feels like it's a bit repetitive, but we're going to talk about it today. The good news is if you're a Wild fan, we're not going to be talking about it that much longer. So Kaprizov, 46 goals, 56, 96 points in 75 games. He is the glue that holds their forward group together and really makes their attack go. He can hit 50 goals this year. I think he will. He can hit 100 points, I think, easily. Kaprizov's a superstar in the NHL, which should, if Rossi ends up playing on that line, improve Rossi's numbers a lot. He had 21 goals, 19 assists, 40 points in 82 games this past season, and Rossi looks ready to take that next step. And for Minnesota, a team dealing with cap issues, you need your young players on entry-level contracts to do exactly that. Zuccarello, 69 games, 12 goals, 51 assists, 63 points for him, being near a point per game at this point in his career. Pretty strong resume for Zuccarello. He's one of those players who just seems to get smarter as he gets older, which keeps him in the league and keeps him productive. Johansson had a bit of a down year, 78 games, 11 goals, 19 assists, 30 points. We'll see if he can bring those totals up a bit this season. Eriksson Ek, 77 games, 30 goals, 34 assists, 64 points. Really good season there. Boldy, player that I like, admittedly, 75 games, 29 goals, 40 assists, 69 points, and I think he's capable of more than that. I think he's capable of being above a point per game. Foligno, 55 games, 10 goals, 12 assists, 22 points. They probably want a little more scoring per game from Foligno, but you also want him to be healthy, right? Huznadinov may very well end up on that third line, although you've got Freddie Gaudreau, who can play third line as well. But Huznadinov played 16 games this past season with Minnesota, so he still qualifies as a rookie this year. 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points for him. And in the event of an injury, I would say you could try him for further up the lineup and see what he can do. Hartman, 74 games, 21 goals, 24 assists, 45 points. So this is not a bad group if it's healthy and if Kaprizov's productive, if Rossi takes that next step, and again, if Huznadinov can hold on to that third line spot and show some production there, you've got a decent forward group scoring-wise, right? Then you get to the blue line. You've got Brodin, 62 games, 7 goals, 20 assists, 27 points. When he's out of the lineup, has a dramatic effect on the defense in Minnesota. Brock Faber played all 82 games, 8 goals, 39 assists, 47 points. A lot of hype around Faber. We'll see how he does in year 2. Middleton, 80 games, 7 goals, 18 assists, 25 points. And I'll get into discussing contracts, which will include Middleton's. But I think Middleton's fine as a second or third pairing defenseman. Spurgeon, 16 games and just 5 assists. Missing Spurgeon for that many games absolutely caused problems for the Minnesota Wild. He is an underrated defenseman around the National Hockey League. And so if he can be healthy and good to go this season, it should make a positive difference. Then you get to the goaltending. And the goaltending is a bit of a question mark. So you got Gustafsson, 20-18-4 this past season, an .899 save percentage. Marc-Andre Fleury, 17-15-5, .895 save percentage. This past season, they were 21st in goals for and 19th in goals against. But the numbers got better once the coaching change was made. So under Ebbison, they were 5-10-4. And then under Hines, 34-28-1. So Hines got them back in the hunt. Eventually, they fade from the playoff picture, but they were right there. 2 other players to keep an eye on. Liam Ogren just got into 4 games this past season, had a goal and an assist, but he's a talented forward. And again, if/when injuries take place, maybe Ogren ends up jumping into a spot so they can get him a look in that top 9. And of course, Wallstead. Wallstead was 2-1 when he got called up, .897 save percentage. And so while Fleury may very well be in his final season, and we have said that before, Wallstead, to me, looks pretty ready. So Minnesota may have, they may have some decisions to make, and who knows, maybe they make a move before the season starts. If they can find a taker for Gustafsson's contract, maybe you roll with Wallstead and Fleury, right? But we'll see. Usually if they haven't moved by this part of the summer, where we're into the first week of August, usually they don't move, but it can happen. We still can get trades before training camp. So their cap space currently shows us $1,531,410 on Puckpedia. And they've got some good contracts and they've got some bad ones. So I could start singing the facts of life, but I'm not going to. Because you take the good, you take the bad. Damn it. So Kaprizov, $9 million cap hit until 2026. I think that's very reasonable for Kaprizov. At the time that they signed him to that contract, there was definitely risk to it. Now the risk is in 2026, he's going to want a lot more money. Matt Boldy, $7 million cap hit till 2030. That's perfectly reasonable for Boldy. I think that the production he's put up, plus the fact he's young and there's still a lot there to give, I think that contract's fine. Eric Sinek, $5.25 million cap hit till 2029. That is a deal. That is a bargain on Eric Sinek, a 30-goal scorer who can play pretty well at both ends of the ice. Zuccarello, a $4.13 million cap hit till 2026. That is also a bargain for a player who's almost a point per game. Then you get into the contracts where you could ask a question. So Marcus Foligno at $4 million till 2028. Foligno at this point in time in his career, I don't know if he's going to be able to play a full season. I don't know if his production's going to stay up to justify that $4 million. But leadership, you can go with that. Hartman at $4 million till 2027 looks perfectly fine. He's a 20-goal scorer. Then you've got Trennan, who they signed at $3.5 million for right through until 2028. By projections, Trennan's fourth line. So Trennan at $3.5 million, potentially Gaudreau at more than $2 million if they're both on the fourth line. That's a very pricey fourth line. Talented fourth line, sure, but pricey all the same. On the blue line, Spurgeon at $7.58 million for a cap hit till 2027. That, I think, is a bargain when he's playing and playing well. Brodin at $6 million till 2028. Same. I think that's a great contract. Then you got Middleton, $4.35 million till 2029. When this contract was signed, there was some discussion about both the term and the value of the contract. It is a pricey contract for Middleton, not going to lie. But in the case of Bill Guerin, he seems to have that nice mix of contracts that are bargains and maybe a little bit of overpays. So it kind of balances out. An example here would be Faber at $8.5 million till 2033. Obviously, there's a big risk to that. But generally, and I've looked at this in videos in years gone by, when a player signs an 8-year deal, those are usually the ones that end up being pretty good deals. Pretty good overall deals for the team involved. So Faber could be that next one that we look back 3 years from now and say, you know what, that was actually a pretty good deal for him. Gustafsson in that $3.75 million cap hit till 2026. Again, if you move that cap hit and bring up Wallstead, it frees up some cap space if you want to bring in another forward or another defenseman for depth purposes. But Minnesota's going to be good, not great. At least that's what I see here. They are seen as potentially a playoff team. When we look at the cup odds, and I like to look at the cup odds because sure, why not? They're right in between Vancouver and Winnipeg. Vancouver's at plus 2,300, Minnesota plus 2,500, Winnipeg plus 2,600. So according to the people placing money on it, they like Minnesota a little better than Winnipeg and almost as much as Vancouver. The Parisian Suter penalty. So it's still a major issue for this team. It's $14.74 million this season and then drops to $1.67 million next season combined. So if they had that $14.74 million in cap space this year, how different could this team look? What kind of moves could they make? You know, what kind of trades would we have seen? But again, Guerin's kind of handcuffed there. Again, he's the one that bought them out. He knew what was going to happen when he bought them out. He felt that it was the best move for the team, but it is going to be another year where it's a little bit more difficult for them. So 2019-2020, they finished with a .558 points percentage. They were out in the qualifying round. 2021, a .670 points percentage, but they're out in the first round. 2022, they had a .689 points percentage. They're out in the first round again. And 2023, that is .628 points percentage and out in the first round again. This past season, a .530 points percentage, no playoffs. They could jump back into the playoffs, but the question with Minnesota is, how do you win your first round since 2015? And do you have a team that has any chance of going to a conference final for the first time since 2003? So I don't know if this team's going to get there. I like some parts of this team. I do think that Minnesota's capable of being in the hunt for a playoff spot. But for Minnesota fans, I wonder, do you guys want to see them for this year just not worry about playoffs and then take that cap space next year and really go for the moon? Just go for it. You can go out and get a couple of big name free agents, and you might be able to really beef the team up. What would your approach be if you're in Bill Guerin's seat right now? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I understand it if you haven't done it already, but you can make up for it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.